We have a Loudwire Nights first this evening. Rock and roll legends Brian Johnson and Cliff Williams of AC/DC joining us to talk about their new song, Shot in the Dark, and the band's upcoming album, Power Up, which arrives November 13th, which happens to be Friday the 13th. Welcome, gentlemen. A million thank yous for your time. And this will air later in the week. But happy birthday, Brian. How does it feel to spend your 73rd birthday back with AC/DC, promoting the most anticipated rock album of the year, Power Up?
It's a good feeling. It's a great birthday present, actually. It's, who would have thunk? But here we are, and we're pretty proud of it. 3 years ago, might not have been possible. But, the bond in the band is so strong that, some might say it's inevitable. But, the thing is, we're just very happy that we're here now.
Not as happy as the fans, I don't think.
Well,
I'm pretty sure we're happier. Cliff, I feel as if I speak for everybody in saying that we're so thankful. You two are not done with AC/DC. You retired from the band in 2016. And at the time, you shared a video and you said your decision had nothing to do with Malcolm, Phil, or Brian no longer being in the band, lineup changes. You were just ready to get off the road. So what changed for you? Why did you choose to return to AC/DC?
But with the opportunity to play with the guys again, that last Rock or Bust tour was due to be my final go around, and it was a tough tour, quite frankly, Tony. It was, to finish the thing, it was a long, tough tour, and that kind of capped it for me. And then a couple of years off, and Angus reaching out, the record company reaching out to see if the original guys, Phil, who we'd lost at the very beginning of the Rock or Bust tour, were up for doing it, and the opportunity to be with the guys again and get that feeling of playing together was I couldn't pass it up.
I have to follow that up with, will the band be touring in support of Power Up? Obviously, COVID-19 is a factor at the moment, but if it went away today, would AC/DC be ready to hit the road tomorrow?
Just before all this stuff hit, we all gathered in Holland and we rehearsed for about 2.5, 3 weeks, Cliff, wasn't it? About that?
Yep.
And,
right.
And we powered it up to make sure that everything was going well. And I had these new fantastic technologies, fantastic, and things have come on, and had these this new equipment, which is tremendous. And off we went, and it was just fantastic. Just when the five of us in there, just letting it fly, just letting it scream. It was, once again, it was electricity in the room. I mean, it was such a vibe, and we just knew it had to be. And of course, just like the rest of the world, we split up. We just said, okay, guys, we'll go home and we'll work on something. But we got stopped dead in our tracks. We heard about this virus coming, but we were like everybody else. It was somebody else's virus. It wasn't ours. It was never going to reach us, surely. But it came charging in like a mad bull and caught a lot of off guard. So it really sort of stopped doing what we wanted to. So we're just going to have to be like everybody else in the world. Just be patient and wait and hope that this thing can get fixed in some way, and we can get back out there to see these fans that Cliff's talking about all the time. The bedrock of the band, is what they are.
That's great news. That is amazing news. I recently did a Loudwire rock news segment on the current reunited lineup. And at that point, we just had the Shot in the Dark teaser. And I can't even count all the AC/DC back to save 2020 comments. Like every comment is like, they're back to save civilization. So clearly we're beyond excited about the new music. But how did it feel for you all being back in the studio? And for those who are unfamiliar, you all being Angus Young, Brian Johnson, Cliff Williams, Phil Rudd, and Stevie Young. What was that reunion vibe and energy like?
It was instantly good. Instantly good.
Yeah.
It was getting with Brendan O'Brien, the producer who's worked with us before. It was just a very positive, exciting time in the studio there. We kind of we'd not played for a while together, pretty much fired up right away, and got into it. So it was a great feeling.
It was just, honestly, I think you appreciate it more when you think it might never happen again, and stuff happens like that with people, they get their driving license taken off them because they're getting too old to drive, they cannot see anywhere, whatever it is, and, you think this might not happen again, and when it does, and everybody's still got that same energy and still got that same drive, when these 5 people get together and they make this certain sound that is pretty unique, and for me, just listening to it, I get a goosebumps when I was in there, and the guys sort of cranked up, and it was brilliant. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. I got all excited. Angus came in with a bucket load of great songs. So, I mean, it was a win-win situation as soon as the boys started. And as Cliff says, Brendan O'Brien, he really is just so very positive and very funny. He's very humorous, and he never takes anything too serious. And that's fantastic in a studio when you haven't got somebody taking things too serious. And I think it reflects in the songs the intensity, and the joy that we had when we were playing them. The songs, the new songs.
The world lost AC/DC co-founder and guitarist Malcolm Young in 2017. There have been several reports that Malcolm had a bunch of material recorded that was worked off of and sort of incorporated into the record. Are these reports accurate, and how much of Malcolm's work found its way onto Power Up?
Malcolm's, his contribution was really in the writing side with Angus. Angus and Mal have got just a ton of stuff that they've put together over the years, and Angus went through it and brought a bunch of great stuff to the studio. Stevie played the parts. It's not Malcolm playing on the record.
Got it. In addition to people outside of AC/DC leaking information, photos surfaced in 2018 of Brian Johnson and Phil Rudd outside the Warehouse studio where AC/DC have recorded albums in the past. So as a band, did you feel as if you were losing control of how you rolled out the reunited lineup and the new music? And how concerning was that to you all?
Well, it's a sad thing. We just popped out to have a cigarette, and yet somebody had set a camera up. I mean, it's that invasive, the world these days. Everybody wants to know what you had for breakfast, and, and it was, in our mind, let's get together and say nothing, have a, quiet time. And people just can't understand that anymore. They want to know everything, It's just the way the world is, It's a different place, it's a different animal now. There's nothing you can do, really.
You don't sound overly concerned about it. Okay.
No.
Well, we're just, I don't know. What do you reckon, Cliff? I'm not worried about it.
No, what can you do? I mean, it got out because I quit smoking, so they didn't get a
They didn't get you.
snap of me. But what do you do? It got out. It was no big deal. Obviously, playing some stuff, but there was no statement put out or anything from us. We was just left alone.
Okay.
And we actually put a kind of a sheet or something on it, Brian. Some
what
kind
was
of
that?
a cover over that. They put
we had to put a big canvas
that.
cover up so we could go.
So you could go there.
To go and have a cigarette and not get snapped.
That's so funny.
It was funny.
As of about a month ago, Chris Slade was still saying in interviews that, to his knowledge, he was AC/DC's drummer. Was he ever notified that there was a new album being made without him? And why was he not made aware?
I don't know. That's the first I've heard of this. I really don't know. I would have imagined Chris would have known. Chris stood in for Phil very admirably. He did a great job. But as you know, Phil got himself into some trouble. But he's AC/DC's drummer, really. He always has been, as Phil, And, it's a difficult one, me darling. I hadn't heard that. So I cannot comment on it really too much,
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'd not heard that either. And in the past, Chris has been hired to come in and do the job. So that's been the sort of premise of the whole thing. The where he's at with it. So I didn't know. Maybe he feels that he's the drummer. But,
he does. As of a month ago, he did. I mean, I'm sure he's aware he's not now. But yeah, it was kind of awkward to read that. But we will move on. What can you tell us about the sound and the lyrical content of Power Up? What can fans expect?
AC/DC.
Well, Angus, he always thought that whenever the band got together, just like we were talking about before, like say in the studio there or in the rehearsal room, that first day, the amps are there, and then you flick that switch, and on comes the power, and then you just power it up. So he said it's exciting. And he said, and it's got a lot of bearing on the world at the minute and the situation we're in. We would just hope this album can power up the fans and the people, just to enjoy themselves and forget about this mess, just for a few hours and just rock out. And I know it's easy to say, and I know it's a mess, but every little bit helps,
Oh, my God. Are you kidding? Everybody's so looking forward to this. We will so gladly take a few hours or moments to just enjoy AC/DC and forget about the world. I'll wrap on this question because I'm pretty much up on my time here. As noted earlier, you are both living legends, so this might be silly, but do living legends get any nerves or anxiety before the release of a new album? I can't imagine reception being a concern for AC/DC, right? Everybody's chomping at the bits, but any nerves, anything like that?
Well, yes, I guess. If you didn't, you wouldn't be human. But, you really do hope that, you're not a nervous wreck, but you're a little apprehensive, I think is the word I'm trying to use. You really want it to do well, and you really want people to enjoy it. And I think that's the biggest thing in my head, at least, is I just hope people enjoy it as much as I do.
Same for me.
I haven't heard it, but I'm going to say yes. We're going to enjoy it more than you. I already know. All right. Power Up by AC/DC. It arrives November 13th. The single is Shot in the Dark. Phil Rudd, Cliff Williams, Brian Johnson, all back with the band where they belong if you ask any AC/DC fan. Brian Johnson, Cliff Williams, thank you so much for your time. A million thank yous.
Thank you, Tony. You're a little darling. Thank you.